That's right. That's right. It's your boy, Brother Black One, here with another strong video. And today's video, we're going to be discussing beware of the daddy's girl. Beware of the daddy's girl. Before I get into this video, I need you to do three things. I need you to rate, subscribe, and share all in that order. Let me let you a little secret. Hey, it don't cost nothing to rate, subscribe, and share. It's free 99. Trust me. All right, I'm gonna give you a couple seconds to go ahead and do it. You did it? Cool, good. Back to the video. So, like I said, we're going to be discussing the topic of beware of the daddy's girl. And this can be a sensitive subject. And I think it's a broad subject when it comes to relationships with daughters and their fathers and daughters and their son. But this video, I want to emphasize on the relationship between the father and the daughter. Now, traditionally, when you talk about daddy's girls, you more automatically what comes to mind is the daughter who was real close to her father, the apple of his eye. Protect your daughter. Because that's a future woman, and you don't want any hurt, harm, or danger to come to her. And sometimes in this, you fathers who have relationship with their daughters, they tend to put them on a pedestal, and it's a beautiful relationship when it's a relationship of balance. What do I mean when I say balance? Well, what I'm referring to is when the daughter and the father have a good relationship. Sometimes when you see the father, you see the daughter, and vice versa. But I want to talk about the flip side of the relationship. We all know what good can come from that relationship, but I want to talk about the other side. What happens when that relationship is out of balance, where it's one-sided? What happens when the daughter becomes closer to the father than the mother? Well, there's a couple things that could potentially go wrong and can follow that daughter, daddy's girl into womanhood. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so what's wrong with that? The daughters are supposed to cherish their fathers, and fathers cherish their daughters. That's all well and good. But there can be some potential danger that can attach themselves to that little girl who is now a grown woman. Okay, so what do I mean? Okay, now, you know, when a woman gets married, prayerfully and hopefully, the father will give his daughter away. Now, we know that the ill effects of a father not being around for either uh, species, male or female, but because the daughter is wired with emotion, you have to treat your daughter a little differently than you treat your son. But what happens when the father goes overboard and he puts his daughter on such a high pedestal that when it's time for her to engage in an adult relationship with the opposite sex, she has a warped view and sense of what a man is supposed to be in her life and how he's supposed to conduct himself in her life. And a lot of times, this can be uh, out of whack because if the father has been pumping his daughter up since a little child, you a queen, can nobody do for you like your father and all that, what tends to happen is your daughter can't separate the childhood from adulthood, and she begins to rate her potential mates based on the care of what her father gave her growing up. Now, the reason why it's a gray area because yes, you want your daughter to be confident. Yes, you want your daughter to be prideful. Yes, you want her to have high self-esteem, and yes, you want her to have standards. But what happens when that relationship goes straight left to the point of Never Never Land, where her emotions are so wrapped up as childhood that all she knows is what daddy told her. But what daddy didn't warn his daddy's girl is that all men aren't created equal when it comes to dealing with women. You may come across some men that don't have that type of a structure in their lives where they know how to nurture their lady and keep their lady and all of that. But sometimes it's uphill. It's an uphill battle for a brother when he's dealing with a woman that she thinks she is all of that in a bag of chips because that's what my father told me, and I'm not accepting nothing less. If you can't do this, this, and this for me, then it ain't no go. Well, that can backfire when it comes to adult relationship, especially intimate relationships dealing with the opposite sex. So a lot of times a woman can't figure out, well, why do I can get a guy, but I can't keep him. Maybe it may be because the relationship you had with your father was a little too overboard, like I mentioned previously. So what are the other ways that this happens? What happens is and this can happen especially when the father has no sons. What he tries to do subconsciously and inadvertently, he sometimes you'll have fathers that try to make their daughter their son in spirit, and that can be damaging when that daughter grows up, because what happens is your daughter, and the thing about this is so this subject is so delicate, because what happens is the daughter is just doing what she knows. Her village concept or her environment that she grew up in, she watched her father fix the car. She watched her father uh, uh, build projects around the house, and she want to be around her daddy so much that what can happen in most cases, the daughter can innocently take on the spirit and likeness of a man. That's right, I said it. They can take on the spirit and likeness of a man. And this is where we have now in today's society, you'll hear a lot of talk about the alpha females, or you'll hear talk about how the the woman has a masculine spirit. Now, I'm not talking about sexual orientation. To each his own. You do what you do. But what I'm talking about is the woman that still gets her nails done, still gets her hair done, and on the exterior, she has all the essence of a lady. So when the brothers see her, they're like, man, that's a dynamite woman. She got it going on. She done got credentials. She got went to college. She has her own home, her own money. She's done all of that, right? But here is the change up in that. It's when she comes off ultra aggressive. Yep, comes off ultra aggressive. Um, she can't separate what her father kind of indirectly grooming her to be, uh somebody that can be considered to be kind of tomboyish. And this is where the relationship, now you have to ask yourself a question. Where is the mother in this case? Now, I'm talking about in this case, you're talking about where there's an unbalanced relationship, because as it stands, that's why you need an equal balance from the mother and father, because their God-given roles is to impart qualities in them from the opposite sex, so that they know how to maneuver through life, because she's getting the feminine essence from her mother, but she's getting exposed to what a man is supposed to be like and look like and conduct himself. That's the parent's role, is to impart into the children. So there it won't be one-sidedness. Now the same thing can be said for the mama's boy. Same scenario, just flip the script, right? So the dangers of the daddy's girl is that she seemingly has to control the situation, right? And then when the man gives her resistance, because he's rightfully trying to be the man, there's always a bumping. There's always a personality clash, because in essence, you're not dealing with a lady. You're dealing with a lady with a man's spirit. And a lot of time, I'm gonna tell you something, ladies, a lot of times men get put off and turned off by women that conduct themselves as such. And let me say this. I understand that when you're dealing with this, it's not your fault, because all you're doing is just being a child, and all you're doing is just doing what you know. But see, when you rob that daughter or that son, but we're focusing on daughters, when you rob them of the balance and the equilibrium of, okay, you can hang with daddy, but you have to make sure that that wife instills what she has to, for in fact to her, for for her to be, what she is, a woman, teaching her how to be a lady, right? Now, this has been prevalent in a lot of conversations as of recent. You got the alpha females, then they got this thing with the alpha submissive and all of that. And a lot of women, maybe, like I said previously, a lot of women trying to figure out, why can't I attract that male? You need to check your delivery and the posture in which you carry yourself around a man, because it causes a strain on a lot of relationships, and a lot of men can't take it, especially how society is set up, where it seems to be, where it appears to be, quote unquote, where it appears to be, where the man is making less money than a woman. So in the woman's mind, okay, I was raised by I was predominantly with my father. My mother, I really didn't engage with her. And so, hey, my father was head of household. So guess what? That's the role that I'm going to morph into subconsciously. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of times, and then ladies, it's not your fault. Sometimes this happens it happens, it's innocent, right? I'm not gonna call it a mistake, because your culture, or I like to use the word, your village or your environment you grew up in, that's what you grew up in. But fathers out here, I'm talking to the younger fathers who still have that, who still have the daughters in those precious stages. Listen, you have to be careful that you teach your womans, you still have to be a lady. You still have to conduct yourself in a manner that God created you, right? Um, and mothers, let me talk to y'all. Let me tell you something. And this goes back to generations, because we don't know how the mama was raised, and we don't know whether she didn't get that balance as well. That's why it's so important for there to be that balance in the home, where the mother and father, in a perfect world, in the sense, we know stuff don't always work out, because you got divorce, and you have teenage pregnancies and things of that nature. So we know sometimes the chips fall where they may. But mothers, if at all possible, pay keen attention to your daughters and how they conduct themselves. Watch their mannerisms and how they do, and how they conduct themselves, and let them know, hey, look, and moms, if you don't feel comfortable, listen, it should be easy because you're a woman, right? But again, we don't know what dynamic you grew up in. But if you feel like, man, I can't get to that girl or whatever, man, get to some of your girlfriends, the ones that get teased for being dainty, the ones that get teased for you just, ooh, you so ladylike, whatever. Because it has gotten so far off the center of the origin of our existence that it's created a subculture all of its own. And a lot of men can't take it. But you know what? A lot of men are not even going to give it the light of day. They're not even going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're not going to say nothing. You know, they say in customer service, when you're in the service industry, they said it's the customer you should be scared of is not the customer that makes a lot of noise and barks and all that. That's not the one to be afraid of. The customer you should be afraid of, ladies, is the customer that doesn't say anything. Because if a man fusses and complains, or vice versa, right? He's giving you a chance to rectify those areas, especially if he sits down and have a talk with you, and let you know and say, hey, look, you know, I noticed on this situation, you always try to bump me out the way and all this and all that. And I know there are a lot of ladies out there that think that or there are a lot of women out there that think that automatically gives them a title of a lady. But let me tell you something, from a man's point of view, and growing up with two sisters, right? You know, you have to take in consideration, like, okay, is what I'm doing ladylike? You know, am I being too aggressive in this area? You know, I got to know when to fall back and let my man be a man. Because I'm gonna tell you, it's a long, lonely, hard road when you're attracting somebody, but they won't stay for the reasons I just mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So again, mothers, be mindful. And like I said, if you're having a problem, you're not comfortable with, get one of your girlfriends that you know is, you know, a little bit, you know, as I heard somebody say, a girly girl, right? It's kind of weird to hear a woman say, oh yeah, she a girly girl. You know what I'm saying? Or she real dainty. It seems to me like, in my opinion, that that label is bastardized in a sense, because you're penalized for being who God created you to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, like the title says, beware of the daddy's girl. Okay. And like I said before, dads, I feel you. I know you wanted that son or whatever, but you got to be mindful of what you are modeling in front of your daughters. Be mindful. You know, like if you know you got a daughter that you say, okay, yeah, I raised her right, but if you pay close attention, you gotta be like, okay, you know what? Something ain't right about this. You know, she not exactly, and again, it's hard to decipher because, or it's hard to uncover because, don't, like I said, this woman, she has the essence of a lady. Like I said, hair done, what the song say? Nails done, hair done, everything done to the nines. But when she opens her mouth, it's that tone, it's the body language. When even when you're speaking, you're not speaking because your body language dictates a lot without you even knowing it. And the whole premise of this whole discussion is that you don't understand why this is going on. You don't understand, but I'm trying to give you some insight and trying to save those girls who are going through that process, because I've seen the examples of it. I've seen it, you know. And it doesn't profit you anything to do that. So all I'm saying is just be mindful, because this is what a lot of guys have told me about. I observed it. I seen it up close and personal. And don't get me wrong, the women are beautiful creatures, all of that. But you got to be mindful. And like I said, this goes for boys too. The mama's boy, you know, that feminine, they got the little twang in their voice and all that. Like, I know a lot of women say they can't stand when they see a dude that act all feminine, you know. But guess what? We dudes can't stand a woman that act all masculine. Trust and believe there is power in femininity. I'm telling you. But half the battle is admittance. I'm telling you, there are life coaches like April Mason, Monique Head, they're femininity coaches. They're trying to win back the women on the other side. Now you can go check their channels out. I think I might put them put their links down below if I can find them, if I can get their links to their YouTube channels. Trust me. You know, I think what I might do is I'm going to just put like their names down there, and if you do a YouTube search, their channel should pop right up. You know what I'm saying? So this brother Black one here with another strong video, man. Beware of the daddy's girls. Until next time, family. Peace.